Hi, hello, good evening, my officers. Welcome to this series called as Important Reports and Indexes for UPSC Prelims 2021. So, good evening, everyone. Yes, Jokendra, good evening. Hello, Tarun, good evening. Am I audible and visible to you people? Perfect. So, this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educated Unacademy, an expert in Indian economy, current affairs and MCQs. I'm also one of Unacademy's top educator, handling a lot of batch courses with regard to economics, history, MCQs, current affairs and all. You can just find the link of my Unacademy profile in the description box of this particular video. And you can also follow me there for all the updates. Clear? So now, as you all know, guys, this is actually a series which is live for the past 1 week, wherein all the important reports and indexes pertaining to the UPSC Prelims CSE examination will be discussed in a short, crisp and simple manner. So indeed, a quick 360-degree coverage of the important indexes and reports will be discussed along with the proper handy notes for quick revision. Clear? That will also be provided to you people. So now we can just go through, guys. Apart from these classes, there are also other YouTube classes which I've been handling in the very same channel for a very short period of time. Let's say 7 to 7:30, you have a fundamentals of economy class happening. It is a trending course, followed by for another 10 minutes, 8 p.m. to 8:10 p.m. Economy, trending topics with the current affairs and concepts. Then apart from that, if you see, the live series will continue like this. And also starting from Friday, you have another live series exclusively based on economy, 1 year current affairs, which will happen from 9:30 p.m. onwards. So there are a lot of surprises that has been happening, guys. So you can stay updated for all these updates regarding my live sessions, my plus classes, my free classes, sab kuch like that. Clear? So now, to be a part of the Unacademy free class or plus class, you can just use the code Nisha IAS Live. And one small reminder to all you people before starting the classes, actually till July 31st. Okay. Unacademy has actually announced official combo with regard to the price reductions in the Plus platform. So don't miss this opportunity. After that, there will be a price hike. So currently you are getting a load of discounts. Up to 45% discount you people are getting with regard to your subscription. Along with the extra 10% which you will get using my referral code Nisha IAS Live. So come and join for the live classes to become IAS officers with me, and that is Nisha IAS Live. Clear? Apart from this, you will also be able to be a part of the personal mentoring program as such. Clear? Yes, Venugopal, Shivam, how are you all? Good evening. Yes, guys, I hope I'm audible and visible to you people. Yeah, perfect. Yes? So now, without much of delay, guys, if you see, you can even follow me via the various platforms which is mentioned in the slides over here. So in that, Telegram is there. Nisha Nujumudeen at Unacademy for UPSC is my Telegram channel, official one. You can follow me there for all the updates plus the PDFs and all. So now, here we go, guys. These are the most important topics that we will be discussing in today's class based on the reports and indexes. So we have around solid 6 topics today. So one is based on Global Cyber Security Index, followed by World Investment Report. Then you have something called as Protected Planet Report. Then Swachh Survekshan Report. Then talking about the SDG India Index, which is very important, and also the HDI. So Human Development Index is something which is very, very important, right? So let's quickly have a look into these important indexes today in a short, crisp and to the point manner. So now, talking about the very first index, that is your Global Cyber Security Index. If you see, it is released or put forward by the International Telecommunication Union. So recently, if you see our country, India, we were put up in a very good rank, I should tell you. Indeed, we were among the top 10 countries. We were in the 10th rank with regard to the Global or the World Cyber Security Index, and which is put forward by the ITU. So literally compared to the previous year index, if you see, we were able to move up to 37 places. And this affirmation or this positive move of our country with regard to the Global Cybersecurity Index came just ahead of the 6th anniversary of our country India's Digital India, guys, on the so-called 1st July. That is in this month, 1st July only it happened. Clear? Now, how do you actually calculate or assess such kind of index, guys? Now, there are 5 parameters based on which you will calculate the so-called cybersecurity index. One is legal measures, how strong the legal measures are put forward in your country, India. Followed by the technical measures, then the organizational measures, the capacity development and also cooperation. And now, taking an aggregate of all these things together, you will get an overall score based on which you will categorize or rank the countries based on this particular index. Clear? I can see that some people are telling that I'm not audible and visible. Is it very fine? Yes, Shivam, Tarun, Venugopal and all in the class. Am I audible and visible to you people? Yes? I hope everything is fine. Yeah. So now, as I was telling you people regarding the Global Cybersecurity Index. Now, I told you regarding, yes, Shiva, good evening. So, as I was telling you people regarding the India's rank, we are among the top 10 countries, right? Indeed, we are ranking number 10 with regard to this particular index. What about the global scenario? Which are the countries that rank number 1? If you see US or America, as always, they're very good in all this technological and other cyber perspective, right? So, yes, they are ranking number 1. Followed by London, that is UK, and then Saudi Arabia. And I can tell you that UK and Saudi, they were having the second position together. So, I cannot believe that Saudi is the third one. So, UK and Saudi, they shared it together. Followed by, if you see, the third position for this particular index globally was bagged by another country called as Estonia. Clear? Yes, Neha and Pradosh, good evening. So, now, what about the worst performers? So, definitely when you talk about the, the best countries with regard to the so-called index, the next thing that come to your brains will be with regard to, chalo, which are the countries that performs worst. So yes, if you see all the countries, especially this, South African countries, they are really ranked poor or worse with regard to the so-called Global Cybersecurity Index. Now talking about India, guys, yeah, the results for India was pretty much better this year, I can tell you. The reason for that is, we could score a total of, let's say, 97.5 points from a possible of, let's say, 100 points. That is the sole reason this year we could bag the 10th position across the globe with regard to this so-called Global Cybersecurity Index. And don't you think so? Cybersecurity is indeed very important. These days, everything is online. Starting from your education to your business to every other perspective. So, having a cybersecurity is indeed very important. In fact, with regard to the country India, it is also important for us in the context of national security also. Because cybersecurity is also a wing of that, because if information is leaked, it can cause a load of issues with regard to country's protection as well, right? So indeed, cybersecurity is a very important concept. So we have to make sure that we are on the secured platform. Clear? Now, in the Asia Pacific region, if you see, we are in the 4th position with regard to the so-called cybersecurity index. And the reason for this is we are an emerging global IT superpower, I should tell you, information technology superpower, which means the secondary or the tertiary or the service sector. That is the third sector of the economy, we are doing really great. If you see, lot of FDI, that is foreign direct investment, has flown to our country with regard to this particular software and IT sector. That is one reason, guys, all these global cybersecurity index is also popping up to a greater extent. Clear? Now, yes, Priya. Let's quickly have a look into what are the efforts that we have taken, guys. Our country, India, has taken with regard to improving the cybersecurity perspective. If you see, one is we had a strategy in the year 2020 called as National Cybersecurity Strategy. And that was being put forward or formulated why? So then we'll be able to improve the awareness with regard to cyber perspective and cybersecurity through very strict rules or audits, I can tell you. The next one was a draft personal data protection bill of 2018. And that was actually put forward based on a recommendation of Mr. B.N. Sri Krishna. He was a justice, guys. He put a committee called as B.N. Krishna committee. Based on that, this was put forward. And again, that is exclusively with regard to protecting the data of the citizens of our country, because all these things are covered in the cybersecurity perspective, right? So these are the efforts that our country, India, has taken to improve the so-called cybersecurity, I can tell you. Clear? And thus, this particular scheme was also put up, called as Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, guys. They even set up IFOS I 14C, I can tell, and that was approved in the year 2018. So we can start dealing with all the kind of cyber crimes in a very holistic, comprehensive, and also coordinated manner. These days, you can know that a lot of cyber crimes are also put forward, right? So we should have a proper scheme to deal with them, to protect the data of the citizens, to protect the privacy of the citizens. So all these things are calculated when you talk about the Global Cybersecurity Index for our country, India. Apart from that, if you see, another important effort taken by a country, India, in the so-called cybersecurity perspective was National Computer Emergency Response Team, called as CERTN. And that is one of the nodal agency, or let's say the important agency. For what? For coordination of the entire cybersecurity efforts, emergency response, and also the crisis management. So this is indeed really a great initiative, don't you think so? Because of these particular perspectives only, guys, this particular year, if you see, we were able to bag the so-called 10th position with regard to the so-called cybersecurity index worldwide. Clear? And don't you think so it's very important to secure the security perspective of citizen? We need to get protections from all these cyber perspective. Yes, it is very important. Now, moving on to the next important report of the day, which is none other than World Investment Report. This is indeed a very common report, and indeed I should tell you that investment is one important factor which any country requires. So now the so-called World Investment Report is put forward by UNCTAD. What are they? United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So basically we invest for the business or trade perspective, right? So yes, that is the reason UNCTAD is putting forward this report called as World Investment Report. And now what is the whole perspective, or let's say what is the point of this particular report? It focuses on the trends with regard to the investments made with regard to FDI worldwide. Which are the countries having a better FDI, that is foreign direct investment, which are the sectors they are having, what are the reasons for the flow of investments to that particular country with regard to that particular sector. All these things are taken into consideration while you calculate the World Investment Report. Clear? Along with that, this particular report also focuses on the emerging measures which should be taken. So then we'll be able to improve what its contribution to the development with regard to investment. Clear? Let's quickly have a look at the global scenario. So as far as the report is concerned, the investment report is concerned, the global FDI, the global FDI flows are forecasted or predicted to decrease by, let's say, 40% in the year 2020. And that is one reason for that was the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which posed an entire threat to the economy as a whole, I can tell you. But in spite of that, also our country, India, being an emerging economy, in the service or the tertiary sector, we could see a huge increase in the FDI perspective. And not only because of COVID, guys, even in the past 5 years, if you see, with regard to FDI, we are doing great. We are having a continuous or a steady flow, I should tell you. But if you see, as per the recent report, it was predicted to decrease by 40% compared to their 2019 value of $1.54 trillion. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is it is showing that the global FDI below $1 trillion for the very first time since 2005. And even for the current year 2021, the prediction was as if the FDI is projected to decrease by again a further 5% to 10% in the year 2021. So it's high time that we are working on the so-called investment perspective across the globe. Don't you think so? It's very important. If there is no investment, there will be no proper business or economic activities carried forward. Automatically, the economy will enter into a stage called as recession. What is recession, my young officers? Yes, Priya, what is recession? Slowing down of economic activities, right? That shouldn't take place. If that takes place, then the economy will go from what? From recession to depression, which is indeed very pathetic. That shouldn't happen. If that happens, then the economy will be standstill, I should tell you. Clear? I can see Shiva Pandey asking a question. Ma'am, PDF kaha mil gayi? You will get it in the Telegram channel. Clear? Perfect. Now, talking about the developing economies, how such kind of investment report will affect us. Matlab, if there is no much investments, definitely it is going to have a very bad impact. Don't you think so? So now all the developing economies, I can tell you, they are expected to see the biggest fall in FDI because they rely too much on the global value chain investment. So because if you see this COVID-19 pandemic, it has posed a huge threat with regard to that particular perspective. So indeed, it will cause a lot of impact. Don't you think so? Yes. However, whatever that is the case also, the investment flows, again, they are expected to slowly recover by the start of 2022. It is said that the economy requires some time to recover, and that is why they have kept the year as 2022. Clear? So we have to wait for one more year and see what happens. But now we are hearing reports that the third wave of COVID-19 is on the way. RAAR third wave, pata nahi kya hai wo hai na? We do not know what will happen. If that is the case, and if we are not able to deal with the third wave, then this 2022 will have to be 2024 for the investment flows to recover. So it all depends upon how the economy is fluctuating, I should tell you. Clear? Now, what about India, guys? I told you recently also with regard to investments or FDI, we are doing great. Though the global scenario is a little weak also, with regard to India's investment scenario, we jumped from 12th position in the year 2018 to 9th position in the year 2019. So what does it shows? We are doing absolutely great with regard to foreign direct investment. And we are among the world's largest FDI recipients. You know what is the reason for that? In the year 2019, we were in the 9th position. But then in the year 2020, we came into the 10th position. So we are among the top 10 attractive destinations for foreign direct investment. The reason for that is India is having a very good economy. At the same time, we are having cheap labor. So cheap labor matlab, it is not the labors are cheap in the sense that they are ready to work at any wages. That is, even they are ready to work at the lower wages because of the biggest social evil called as unemployment that is existing in our country. It is better to have something rather to go without nothing. That is the reason lot of multinational corporations, they do want to come to a country, India, put up their industries, set up their factories, and then carry forward the work. Clear? Yes, Pratosh? Yeah. And if you see in the year 2019, even the FDI inflows to a country, India was jumping over 20% to $51 billion. Oh my goodness, that is indeed a great achievement for us. Don't you think so? Yes, it is. Because FDI is very important for any country to grow. That is why if you see, it was said by India, in the recent months that over 100% FDI is allowed via automatic and government route. What is automatic route? It is in the context of China. That is, a lot of countries were taking advantage of our investments also. So due to which they said 100% FDI is allowed via automatic and government route. See, automatic route means if a company or let's say another country want to do an investment in a country, India, then there is no need of any prior approval as such if you are doing it via automatic route. But then there are few restrictions and ceilings or limitations put forward. Whereas government route means they have to get the prior approval from the government of India or else the RBI, whichever case it has been suitable. Clear? So up to 75% a country can actually invest in our country, another country can invest via the automatic route. But then for certain sectors, if 75% is crossing and they want to do a more contribution like 80 or 85 or 100, then a prior permission has to be taken from the government. So that is possible only via the government route, especially in the case of different sectors and all. Clear? And as far as the World Investment Report is concerned, I should tell you that literally they observe that this FDI into India will also sharply decline in the year 2020 because this COVID-19 pandemic is continuously affecting the economy, right? So though we showed wonderful results also, it can actually decrease also. That's what's another prediction given as per this World Investment Report. And it was also said that in India, the number of greenfield investment announcements, that is new projects where the investment is going to happen, it also decreased by 4% in the first quarter of the financial year 2021. And even the mergers and acquisitions, that also decreased or contracted by again 58%. That is because of the fluctuations in the economy, guys, with regard to the effect of pandemic. But once this has been rectified, things will come back to track. But then that will take time. That is next important point to be notified. Clear? And thus I can tell you that the report title, Protected Planet Report, that is the next important topic we are going to discuss here. So this is what you should study with regard to the World Investment Report. Is it very clear, all of you? Any doubt, any queries? Now, moving on to the third important, reports and indexes of the day. It is the Protected Planet Report. And that is basically a report which talks about the progress that the world has made towards what the ambitious goals agreed by the countries in the year 2010 at the UN Convention on Biological Diversity. So, and the UNCBD, which is quite famous, in the so-called Convention by UN on Biological Diversity and Conservation of the Environment, the so-called Protected Planet Report was put forward. To protect the environment or to protect the planet Earth from the environmental degradation or the ecological imbalances. For that particular perspective, it has been put forward. So this is an environmental index, I should tell you. Clear? And thus these reports are not released by just one organization. Rather, they are released by 3 to 4 organizations. Like one is a UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, followed by the World Conservation Monitoring Center and the International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN. And all this report is released by all these 3 organizations with the support they get from the National Geographical Society. What are they? They are international or global non-profit organizations. Clear? So these many organizations are involved in releasing the report based on the Protected Planet report. Clear? And now, do they publish it every year? Definitely no. Actually, these are biennial landmark publications. Okay? And they talk about the state of protected and conserved areas around the entire globe. Which are the areas which requires better protection, which are the areas to be conserved as a sanctuary or a wildlife or a national park, which are the areas to be declared under the IUCN category, which are the species to be declared as endangered, critically endangered, or let's say vulnerable. All these things are coming up in this. Clear? If you see this particular report, I can tell you it is the first in the series to include data on something called as other effective area-based conservation measures, in addition to the so-called protected area as far as this particular report's main agenda is concerned. And what is this OECM? See, other effective area-based conservation measures, basically, they are some conservation designation for those areas that are achieving the effective in-situ conservation with regard to biodiversity outside the purview of the protected areas. That is also quite important, because when you talk about the Protected Planet report, the entire planet has to be protected in every perspective. It is not just one or two perspectives, right? And the 2020 edition of this particular Protected Planet report, they tells that it talks about the status of Aichi biodiversity target level, and they look upon the entire future of the planet Earth. That is, the entire globe is preparing to adopt a new post-2020 global biodiversity framework, because a lot more has to be done. We know that the issues of climate change, which is indeed a very big burden, not only for our country India, but for the entire globe, has literally posed a lot of threat to the economy as a whole, right? So issues like that, the issues of greenhouse gas emissions, all these things have to be eliminated. Only then you'll be able to protect your planet as a whole, right? Talking about the protected area in our country India, if you see, protected areas are those regions or zones, I can tell you. It could be a land or sea areas or region where you are supposed to give certain levels of protection for conservation of biodiversity, along with the preservation of social and environmental values. And in these particular areas, which come under the category called as protected, human intervention and exploitation of resource, they are quite limited as well. You know how many area we have? If you see, we have a network of more than 900 protected areas, and that covers about, let's say, 5% of the total geographical area. So it's indeed very, very important that such kind of report called as Protected Planet report is put forward to protect our country India. Clear? Not only our country India, indeed I should tell you the entire globe, because Earth as a whole has to be protected. Otherwise, in future, where will you stay? If there is no Earth or no planet, fatafat khatam ho gayi na hamara zindagi. That's it. We are done with it. We cannot go to Mars or Jupiter or the moon and stay. Life doesn't exist there. So it's very important that we are protecting our planet for our survival. Clear? Now, talking about our country India, guys, we have the following kinds of protected areas, and that is in the sense of the word designated by the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. So what do is we protect few areas, as I told you, like national parks, then wildlife sanctuaries, then we have few conservation reserve, community reserve, private protected areas, then we have few reserved and protected forests. That is how we actually conserve the areas in our country India with regard to the so-called environmental conservation, biodiversity programs and all, right? Now, moving on to the next important report of the day, we have something called as Swachh Survekshan report. Who is releasing it, guys? The Union Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So as far as the recent 2020 report is concerned, it has been launched by the so-called Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and it was a 5th edition of this particular report, I can tell you. And every year they release a so-called Swachh Survekshan report, and it is an urban survey conducted by the so-called Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and it is considered to be one of the world's largest sanitation survey, and that has been done in our country India. Clear? You would have seen recently in the newspaper also with regard to the Swachh Survekshan report, with regard to sanitations and all. Yes, Priya. Now, this year, 2021, if you see the so-called, Swachh Survekshan report, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, they release ranking based on few categories, like based on the categorization of cities and population, instead of releasing overall ranking. So, this particular year, they had a speciality because they focused only on cities and populations. And now, these so-called categories based on population that was introduced in the year 2019 for the very first time. But then though they have done that also, the exact groupings now that has been changed in the current year. So few changes they have been doing with regard to the releasing of this particular report called as Swachh Survekshan report to get more authenticated data, or let's say report. And now let's quickly have a look into the cities within our country India using the so-called category or classification of cities of populations, guys. If you see cities with a population of more than 10 lakh, Indore was ranking number 1. And they were securing the rank for the 4th consecutive continuous year, followed by Surat in Gujarat and Navi Mumbai. And if you see the entire NCR, that is your National Capital Region Delhi, all the cities there, the Greater Mumbai, then Bharat in Bengaluru, Amritsar, Kota, Chennai, etc., they performed very, very badly, I should say. It did pathetic, I should say, with regard to Swachh Survekshan report. What about the cities which ranked the worst again? If you see in the bottom list, Patna with the rank of 47, they are at the bottom of the list. Whereas Indore was the first with regard to the so-called Swachh Survekshan report. Clear? Now, in the previous slide, I told you regarding the cities with a population of more than 10 lakh. Now, the cities, if you do an analysis or calculation of cities with a population of 1 to 10 lakh, between that category, if you see in the state of Chhattisgarh, there's a city called as Ambikapur. It's not in Neighborwala Ambika, guys. It is Ambikapur. Okay? It has been found out as per the survey as the cleanest city in the country, in the entire country India, guys, followed by Mysore and New Delhi. Now, can you believe this New Delhi, guys? Seriously, they're supposed to be the so-called cleanest one. This makes you quite skeptical, right? But that is a reality. They're known for air pollution. They're known for n number of pollution issues. But then still, as per the survey, they were supposed to be the cleanest one as per few, datas. And what about these cities with the bottom, coming in the bottom or the lower category as per the Swachh Survekshan report, within a population of 1 to 10 lakh, Bihar's Gaya. Gaya is quite famous, right, for Buddha. So Bihar's Gaya with the rank of 382. They were put up the bottom level with regard to the ranking of, cities under the Swachh Survekshan report. What were the other categories, guys? Apart from these categories of population, the other categories, based on that, the other cities of India was having the so-called ranking. If you see Varanasi, again, they have been ranked, the cleanest among the 46 Ganga towns. Yes, Sanjeev, what is it? You belong to Mysuru. Good to know that, which means the city is also coming in the so-called category, Sanjeev. Anyways, back to that class. So now Varanasi was the cleanest, guys, among the 46 Ganga town. Then as per the Swachh Survekshan report, if you see, among the cantonments, Jalandhar got the top rank. Again, can you see this? The UT New Delhi, they were the cleanest capital city. I repeat, the cleanest capital city. Being the highest, city with a lot of pollutions and metro population and all, they're supposed to be cleanest. Can you really believe this? You have to believe, no other go. That's the data, that's a survey that has been telling. It is indeed true. Actually, you know what? We can't say Delhi is not clean as such. They are doing a lot of efforts to ensure that the city is being kept very clean with regard to all the hygiene and sanitation measures. Because if you go there, you can see the categorization of waste also. Dry, solid, liquid waste categorization where the people have to do that. So it's kind of clean. We cannot say it's kind of completely, bad as such. What about the other ranking, guys? If you see, the cleanest state out of those with over 100 urban local bodies cities, if you see, again, Chhattisgarh was ranked out number 1 out of that. And with regard to the state with less than 100 urban local bodies cities, in that Jharkhand was the cleanest state, considered to be the cleanest state. With over 100 urban, it was Chhattisgarh ranked number 1, whereas with less than 100 ULB or urban local body or cities, it was Jharkhand. You can just have a look into it. Clear? One is more than 100, one is less than 100. Yes, Pradosh, what is it? Skeptical because of pollution, yet they have got cleanest. Yes, Pradosh, see, pollution, if you see, that too, air pollution is the highest over there, I should tell you. I have told this in many classes also. People wear masks in Delhi, not because of corona, guys, just because they want to protect themselves from the respiratory disease that they get due to this air pollution. With regard to the PM2, particulate matter, it is 2.5 and all over there. So all these kind of things are quite to be noted in the similar context. Clear? Now, in order to ensure sustainability or long-term perspective of the on-ground performance of cities, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, they introduced a so-called Swachh Survekshan League in the year 2019. And the so-called league is a quarterly cleanliness assessment, guys, of all the cities and towns in our country, India. And they'll be done in 3 different quarters in one particular year with 25% weightage given to what? Into the final Swachh Survekshan result. So don't you think so? How clean we are or how hygiene we are is indeed very important for the growth and development. If we are not clean and not hygiene and we do not have proper sanitation facilities, do you think a country India can grow? Definitely no. See, I have told you many a times again, it is not just the economic and the social indicators that is important. Excuse me. It is also the environmental factors. All these things are also very important. Economic plus social plus environmental factors incorporated together will lead to the holistic growth and development of a country India. In one word called as sustainable development, right? That is why guys, all these Swachh Survekshan report and all is put forward. Clear? And we are working towards this as well. And thus I can tell you the 6th edition of the so-called survey was launched by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs guys in the year 2020, called as the Swachh Survekshan 2021. Clear? In that so-called category, I can tell you they introduced a new performance category called as the Prereq Dor Summon. So there are total of 5 additional subcategories like Divya, Anupam, Ujjwal, Udit and Arohi. Oh my goodness, you'll be thinking, ma'am, pata nahi kya hai, what beautiful names. See, they are just given the names like this guys in the so-called subcategories of this Swachh Survekshan report. Divya is platinum, Anupam is gold, Ujjwal silver, Udit bronze and Arohi is aspiring. Clear? That is how they categorize the cities guys based on the so-called Swachh Survekshan report. Now, moving on to the next important topic of discussion. It is none other than the SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goal India Index. So Sustainable Development Goal is in the context of UN. But then with the regard to India Index, it is put forward by whom guys? None other than the independent think tank of a country of India. That is Niti Aayog, your national institution of transforming India. So recently if you see the 3rd edition of the SDG Goal India Index and the dashboard 2020-21 was released by our Niti Aayog. And now the so-called index guys, SDG India Index, they are developed in association or collaboration with what? The UN in India, that is United Nations in India. Because SDG itself is a part of UN concept. So definitely when you talk about the India Index, they have to be in collaboration with the United Nations in India, right? Simple logic. Now, let's quickly have a look into the so-called perspective. Now, out of the states within our country India, again, the so-called state which ranked number 1 for HDI, that is Human Development Index, the state of Kerala. Even for the so-called SDG India Index also they ranked number 1. They had a composite score of 75. So indeed my own state of Kerala guys, once again we topped the Niti Aayog's 2020 SDG India Index, and that was based on the so-called performance done by the state of Kerala across 16 SDG goals, I should tell you. Clear? Now, when was the so-called SDG India Index launched guys? Was it a new concept or a very old concept? Rather, it's somewhat a new concept I can tell you, because the Niti Aayog launched the so-called SDG India Index in the year 2018. Why? So that we'll be able to monitor or review the progress of a country India on few important goals or objectives through data-driven assessment. And thereby we'll be able to foster a better competitive spirit among the states and UTs in achieving the so-called objective put forward in the Sustainable Development Goal by the year 2030. So there were twin objectives which the Niti Aayog had to follow guys. It is very compulsory. One was to oversee the adoption and the reviewing and monitoring of the SDGs in the country with regard to poverty, hunger, gender perspective, then environment, sab kuch like that. And next is and to promote competitive and cooperative federalism among the states and UTs. Because if you see union, state and local government, the cooperation of them coming under federalism is indeed very important. Because that only will enable you to holistically achieve the goals with regard to various perspectives. Economic, social, environment, political and everything guys with regard to growth and development. Clear? Yes, Atan, is it clear? Perfect. Sorry guys, मैं थोड़ा किच-किच हुआ मेरा throat से today. ज़्यादा, I was like having a little of problem. That is why the voice is like this. I hope it is okay. Yeah. Now, a little more information regarding the SDG India Index. If you see this particular index, what do they represent to show us? Actually, it represents the articulation of the comprehensive nature of the global goals under the 2030 agenda. That is what I told you. See, we have the Sustainable Development Goal put forward. Now, let me tell you something. Before Sustainable Development Goals, guys, there was something called as MDG. What is that? Millennium Development Goal. Now, there were 8 goals put under that. Like no poverty, no hunger, sab kuch under one category. Now over the years, you know what happened? A country, India, or let's say the entire globe could not achieve the objectives as they wanted under the Millennium Development category. That is why they revised with a new category of goals called as Sustainable Development Goal. What they did in that is all these 8 objectives or goals in MDG or Millennium Development Goal, they kind of subdivided. Let's say for example, if poverty and hunger was one goal of Millennium Development Index, in SDG they are 2 different goals. That is, they said that in a very practical way. You cannot even think of eradicating or eliminating poverty just like that. What is the root cause of poverty? The root cause of poverty is hunger. Don't you think so? The moment you eradicate hunger or poverty, then you can even think about eradicating or eliminating or reducing poverty. So no hunger is the first objective of SDG, followed by no poverty. So they kind of categorize the goals like that or objectives like that. So it is even more practical, I should say. And they have set forward so many objectives, programs, policies, and their targeted year is by 2030. In almost every single category or sectors, you should be able to achieve the so-called sustainable development goals. Clear? So now basically the sustainable development goal India Index is also contributing our country India in our path towards achieving the so-called global goals by the year 2030. Thereby keeping the national priorities for our country India. And if you see in the year 2015 only, the UN General Assembly, they adopted what? The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development called as SDG goals. Clear? So this is what you should know with regard to your SDG India Index. And also in this particular context, I even told you regarding the origin of Sustainable Development Goals and also the MDG, that is Millennium Development Goals. So some extra information also you can just write it somewhere, so you do not miss out on that. Clear? Yes, Pradosh, true categorization is practical in SDG. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, that is true, because when you talk about the holistic thing, now there is no particularity or specificality in achieving something. When you have a specificality or particularity in achieving one particular object, it makes a lot of sense. You can start working more. Something like specialization or division, which will enable you to have a better diversification, I can tell you, and focus. Simple thing, just like when I teach you, if I teach you all the indexes together, will you understand? No. Rather, if I teach you important economic index, then important polity indexes, important environmental indexes, it has a structure. So you'll be able to understand, chalo, from this particular subject, these are the indexes or topics I should study for UPSC. So you have a systematic way of preparation also. The same thing, guys. Beat anything, if you are systematic in your preparation and systematic in your objectives agenda, then it becomes simplified for you to achieve the goals what you're looking forward. Clear? The same thing the UN also adopted with regard to the sustainable development goals as well. Now, you can just go through whatever I told you only with regard to the MDGs and SDGs, the same thing. Now, how do you actually rank the cities or countries based on SDG, guys? There is a score of 0 to 100. And if any state or UT is achieving in our country, let's say a score of 100, the meaning of that is we have achieved the entire targets of 2030. If it is 0 means nothing they've achieved. Between the category of 0 to 100, yeah, it shows the performance accordingly. Clear? Now, how do you categorize countries based on the SDG India Index, guys? If you see, as far as the country India is concerned, you know what did Niti Aayog do? Niti Aayog has classified the states and UTs of a country India in 4 categories based on their score that they have got in the SDG India Index out of a scale of 0 to 100, called as aspirant state or UT, then performer state or UT, then front runner achiever. If you are in the rank of 0 to 49, you will be an aspirant. Chalo, you are coming up. Then if you are in the rank of 50 to 64, you are a performer. Chalo, fatafat, you are in a good perspective. Then 65 to 99, yeah, you are in the front runner. You are doing really great. And if you've got 100, come on, you are absolutely achiever with regard to the so-called objectives of the sustainable development perspective. Clear? You can just have a look into the entire SDG goals, guys, the entire 17 No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water sanitation, with regard to affordable energy, then decent work and economic growth, then with regard to industry, innovation, infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, we were discussing in that perspective, right? Then responsible consumption, production, climate with regard to environment, climate action, then life below water, marine perspective, life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, and finally partnership for the goals. So these are the so-called objectives in different categories which we are supposed to attain by the year 2030. Now, let's quickly have a look into the state-wide performances. As I told you previously also, the state of Kerala, they were able to retain their position at the top of the rankings in the 3rd edition of the SDG Index. Since 2018, you have the SDG India Index now. Since from that time onwards, the state of Kerala, they able to showcase a better performance. That is why they're number 1. And their score is 75. Followed by another southern state called as Tamil Nadu. Then you have another state called as Himachal, guys, scoring 72. Clear? So Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Himachal, they are in the top 3 categories with regard to state-wide performance for the Sustainable Development Goal India Index put forward by Niti Aayog. Clear? what were the states that performed really bad? Again, if you see on the other hand, Bihar, Jharkhand, and to the surprise guys, the northeastern state, that is Assam. They were the worst performing state, I should tell you. However, though that is the case also, I should tell you that all the states, they showed some sort of improvement from the last year's scores. Because if you see one of the northeastern states called as Mizoram and another north state called as Haryana, they were seeing the biggest gains because they were able to improve through the policies and programs that they have put forward. So now, moving on to the next important index, indeed the last index of the day, that is HDI, Human Development Index. We all know that Human Development Index is the most important and the common index that a UPSC aspirant should know. It has been put forward since 1990, right? In a report called as Human Development Report. By whom, guys? By the UNDP, United Nations Development Program. So there were so many economists who were involved in the framing of this index called as HDI. But then if you see, the notable contribution or a structural framework to the development of this particular index was given only by two people. One is a Pakistani economist called as Mehboob Haq. Okay. And next is an Indian economist who is a Nobel laureate called as Amartya Sen. So the contribution made by Amartya Sen and the Pakistani economist Mehboob Haq has received n number of commendable appreciations, and they are considered to be the people behind the development of the Human Development Index. But there were so many other people also, like Gustav Ranas of Yale University, then R.C. Desai from London School of Economics. All these people were also there while developing this index. But we talk about only Amartya Sen and Mehboob Haq because they give a perfect structural framework to the so-called index. Thus, if you see, recently with regard to HDI, before going to ranking, let me tell you a few informations, guys. With regard to HDI, I can tell you that they used to rank countries based on the performance in 3 different indicators. What are they? Education, health, income in simple terms, which means technically I can tell you that health means life expectancy at birth. What is the longevity that you are, a person is expected to live once they are born. Second is education, the literacy rate. Third is income, that is the living standard of a person. So both the economic and social perspective is coming here. So actually HDI is considered to be a social indicator, guys. It's indeed a broader indicator, I should tell you. But the only problem here is they focus on just 3 indicators. Clear? That is education, health and income. That is life expectancy, literacy and also income, which is measured in US dollar. Now, recently if you see, out of 189 countries, the rank of a country, India, in the HDI was 131. So if you see in the year 2018, 19 and all, we were like in the 129 and rank 128, 130 and all. But today if you see, as per the recent data, we were 131. So compared to previous year position, we were slipping 2 places, I can tell you, right? So there are a few reasons for that, because we are not able to perform great in education and health perspective, guys. That is one reason. And also unemployment, where people were not able to fetch a better income, that has led to such kind of lower ranks once again. And now in the recent 2020 report of HDI, if you see, they introduced few planetary pressures called as Adjusted Human Development Index. Now the so-called AHDI, that is Adjusted Human Development Index, they will adjust the standard Human Development Index, I should tell you. How do they do that? They do that by a country's per capita carbon dioxide emissions and material footprint. In simple terms, they wanted to incorporate the environmental factors also, because these days it is said that only if the environmental factor is able to improve. You can even think of a holistic improvement in the economic and social indicators. Let's say for example, the environment is not proper. Take care. Can you go to the school and colleges and make yourself more active and healthy, guys? You're having too much of pollution, this, etc. Automatically your health gets deteriorated. You will have a lot of health issue. So even if you go to school and college, you will not be able to have a better efficiency with regard to what you will learn. Similarly, when you go to your factory or to your company or wherever, you will not be able to give 100% efficiency. So in a way, if you see, the environmental factors are having a direct impact, or let's say indirect impact on the economic and social indicators. Taking into consideration that only, in the 2020 report of HDI, they came with the so-called adjusted HDI. Clear? Where they focused on the so-called green economy. I can say yes, Priya, as you said, green economy. Yes, thank you so much, Vineet. Happy to see you in the class as well. Now, talking about the other important recent developments with regard to the HDI, I can tell you the other indices that form the part of the so-called HDR. One is Inequality Adjusted HDI, then Gender Development Index, Gender Inequality Index, and also Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index. These are also very, very important, guys. That is, Your United Nations Development Program, they also publishes these indexes, which is indeed very, very important. Clear? So along with HDI, you should also know these indexes as such. Fine? And thus, whatever I told you, a quick briefing regarding the HDI, they are based on 3 dimensions. You can just go through a long and healthy life, access to knowledge, decent standard of living and all. In this, what you should understand is, as far as the 3 parameters or dimensions of HDI is concerned, okay, long and healthy life talks about health, that is longevity. Access to knowledge is literacy rate, that is classified into 2 categories. That is, if you want to measure HDI based on the educational literacy perspective, there is something called as MYSI, mean years of schooling index, and second one is called as expected years of schooling index. The meaning of that is very simple, guys. Mean years of schooling index is nothing but the average age of number of children or the citizens of our country who are getting education, who are that is the people who are 25 years and above now, that comes in the mean years of schooling. Whereas expected years of schooling is the children who are in the age of school entrance age now, the kind of opportunity they get when they are in the school entrance age, guys. That is still how long they'll be able to receive education with regard to the prevailing factors and age specific factors and all. Very simple there. There are 2 different classifications of the so-called education or literacy perspective of HDI. In a simple term, just for you to know. Nothing much. Clear? Now tell me, with regard to HDI, I told you, our country India is ranking 131. So do you think our country India is in a very high human development, or high human development, medium development, or low human development? Very high, high, medium, low. Think. Oh my goodness, you're supposed to tell me quickly, guys. I can say sure saying low. Really? I'm not talking about the year 1919 here. I'm talking about the year 2021. Use your brains. Oh my goodness. Atan is, oh my goodness, saying it is high. What a brilliant answer. Really? India is having a high HDI. Then we should be developed by this year. Use your brains. Kitna bar I've told you this. How many times I've told you this in various Unacademy free classes. Now people are changing the answer. Shaw is saying it is medium. Wonderful. Yes. For a very long time. After 1990s, if I can tell you that, we are in the medium category of development. We are neither very high nor low. Before 1990, yeah, we were in the low category. But after the development of the HDI, yeah, over the years we've improved. We cannot say that we have not improved here. We literally improved. So we are in the medium category. So a lot more improvement is required. Yes, Neha, it is medium. And now if you see, before 2010, okay, since 1990 you have HDI. So they used to measure or calculate HDI, guys, using a method called as, it is very interesting, okay, using a method called as linear averaging method. I'm talking about the year 1990. Okay, from there on. From 1990 to 2010, linear averaging method was used to calculate or measure HDI. You know what is linear averaging? They will calculate HDI as HDI is equal to health plus education plus income, the whole into 1/3. They just used to just calculate, just add them. That's it. Now, it was based on an assumption called as perfect substitutability. You can just write it. Perfect substitutability. What is substitution, guys? If not tea, then coffee, right? It will give you the same level of satisfaction. They are called a substitute good. Similarly, perfect substitutability is one such condition or objective which was based with regard to the calculation of HDI. I can tell you that is before 2010 we used to calculate HDI based on linear averaging method, and that was based on a condition or assumption called as perfect substitutability. In simple terms, out of health, education, income, it was said that no matter how bad the health of a state is, you can compensate with education, guys. What nonsense is that? See, every 3 indicators or parameters are equally important. If the health of a country, India, is not good, can you compensate that by saying that, chalo, the education is so good, so we can compensate the figures like that and think our country, India, is developing? Does it make any sense? Definitely no. That is how they used to calculate. That is the meaning of perfect substitutability, which is absolutely, rubbish. So taking into consideration the criticisms and absurdness of this particular method, in the year 2010, in the 20th year of the anniversary of the edition of the Human Development Index, guys, they changed the method of calculation of HDI to a more reasonable one, a common sense one. That is, today we have something called as geometric mean method. Geometric mean method. That is, geometric mean method is considered to be the normal indices of calculating HDI, guys, wherein HDI as per the new geometric mean method or the current method is equal to health into education into income, the whole into 1 by 3. You kind of multiply it. You cannot substitute any indexes like that or any parameters like that. If health is not good, find ways, put policies and measures to improve the health. You cannot substitute just with the good educational attainment in your country. It doesn't make a sense at all. You got the point. So it had some sort of logicality there. So these are the important things that you have to keep in mind with regard to HDI. Actually, in the context of teaching you Human Development Index, I have covered almost everything that you should study under this big topic called as Human Development Index. Starting from who put forward the index to the method of calculation, the parameters and subcoach. You know the reason why I did that? It is one of the important hit list topics for UPSC prelims and mains. No doubt in that. That is the sole reason I have covered the entire HDI in a 360-degree coverage. Clear? So there is no need for you to get back to your books and keep revising. So this will do the needful for you. So you can just go through the scoring, guys. It's just for you to know the same thing whatever I've told you. I've given you in the note format here. So that's all, my young officers. Thank you so much. I hope you really enjoyed the session, didn't you? So before leaving the class, don't forget to like this video and put your valuable feedbacks in the comment box. And also stay tuned from Friday for more live classes at 9:30 p.m. So you have an interesting announcement today. Let me tell you what is that. That is Economy 1 year current affairs, guys. The compilation of 1 year economy current affairs called as Economy PT 365 will be discussed for you every day from Friday onwards from 9:30 p.m. It will be live. They are not premiere videos. They are absolutely live classes by me like this. Clear? That will be done in the same YouTube channel. And now in a day, 6 to 7 topics or even 8 topics I'll be discussing in a period of 45 minutes to 1 hour. Fatafat quickly. What is the topic? The current affairs and if required, the concerned concept as well. Exclusively pertaining to the UPSC Prelims 2021. So stay tuned for this amazing session. It is very important, guys. There is no need for you to study 20 or 30 pages with regard to one particular current affairs of economy. Absolutely not needed. Just 5 points is enough. That 5 point will have the entire keyword which will enable you to derive the next 15 points, making it up to 20. This is what I do in every single class. Be it the plus class or the free special class at Unacademy. The same thing I'll do in YouTube. The reason why I'm doing this is because, I have been receiving a lot of requests from the students based on this particular topic. And if so much of thing we educators are giving you in the free platform, you just imagine the benefits you get in the plus platform, yeah. That's why I tell you, don't forget to come to the plus platform, and before July 31st, you can even apply loan. Because for 1 year, you end up paying only 46,000 along with extra 10% discount. Okay, and you also come under the personal mentoring program. So you can use the code Nisha IAS Life for that. Even for the 6 p.m. free class also, you can use the same code, guys. Be it free or plus, the code is the same. Nisha IAS Life. And apart from that, if you take a subscription for 1 year at Unacademy, you are getting an extension till the next mains. Even if you're taking today, let's say for example, today is June 21. Till next June 21, 2022, you will have the subscription. But then Unacademy is extending till the next mains. If you take a 2 and 3 year subscription, you will be even having access to SSC and bank examination category classes if you want to write those exams. Plus, if you didn't clear your prelims, you will get extra 1 more year subscription for free. So these many things they are doing. Clear? So why to miss the opportunity? Grab the opportunity. Make the best out of it. Lot of educators like me, top educators with batch courses, Hindi, English, bilingual, sab kuch, you will get there. Morning classes, afternoon classes, evening classes, even night classes you have for the professionals. Even weekend classes are there. The batch courses. Sab kuch you get over there in a systematic format. Clear? And using my code, it's not the discount, guys. Honestly, this mentoring program, you come under my batch of students for the mentoring program. So that will benefit you additionally if you use this particular code called as Nisha IAS Life. Clear? Yes, Priya, what is it? Ma'am, is there a specific class tomorrow? Priya, there will definitely be a 6 p.m. class tomorrow without fail. Do not worry at all. Clear? And apart from that, as I promised you people in the Unacademy free platform regarding the, carnival, I'll be doing it very soon. Do not worry at all. Take care. I'll just inform you regarding the same. So do not worry at all. That will be done. And regarding YouTube, tomorrow is Thursday. So you relax and come. You will have the regular 7 p.m. class. 7 p.m. to 7:30, the fundamentals of economy in 30 minutes. And the economy booster sessions for 10 minutes. 8 p.m. to 8:10 by me in the same channel, YouTube channel. And Friday, I'll have this 9:30. We will start the so-called, live classes. on 1 year economy current affairs. That is PT 365. So get ready for those series. Are you all ready? Yes, Athan? So much classes. Arey, come on. A UPSC student shouldn't tell me that too many classes. Why would you say that? Do not blame of classes. Rather be happy that you're getting everything in the free platform. Hannah? So how was the Josh, guys? All excited for the new courses and the classes? You should be indeed. So whatever doubts, whatever queries you have, please feel free to get in touch with me via the various platforms I put up here. And in the description box, you can see my Unacademy profile link, and also you can follow me via Telegram. You can just Google my name, guys. Nisha Nujumudeen, you will get my profile. There you can follow me in Telegram, you can follow me in Insta, everywhere you will get the links of that. Clear? Perfect. So I hope you really enjoyed today's class, and I hope seeing you all very soon. Yes, Athan, is there alternative days of your classes or regular? Athan, from Friday, the live classes, I mean 9:30 p.m. it will be regular. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it goes like that. Okay. And 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. is also regular. You can just search by my name. You will get the fundamentals of economy and for 30-minute session, and then economy booster series for 10 minutes. These are all happening in the same YouTube channel only. All are free classes. All the variety topics, concepts, plus connecting them with the trending current affairs, and then the previous year questions, the discussion, all these things are done. See, the uniqueness of my classes, I always follow the method of approach. If it is MCQ, I have a method called as KEC, Keyword Elimination Comparison, which actually I have developed to help my students in solving the tricky questions. If it is current affairs or economy, whatever, the 3C method by me. Concept plus connecting them with the comprehensive syllabus of the subject of UPSC, and then the trending current affairs. This is the way you should study. Even NCERT, which I am doing in the Plus platform, guys, there is a batch course. Even that I teach with the 3C method, not just the NCERT chapters. Connect them with the comprehensive part. Why are you studying that? Which are the parts you have to focus in the comprehensive syllabus of economy? Then the trending current affairs. This is the way I do even NCERT. So just think about the other topics. This is the way a UPSC aspirant should study in a practical way, saving your time. At the same time, you are able to read, revise and repeat whatever you are doing. That's indeed very important. This is my experience, guys, for more than a decade. Like this 10 years in UPSC, I should tell you. In that, 7 years exclusively teaching, and 3 years with regard to preparations, clearing the service, and a lot of things like that. Clear? Yes, Amit, I'm Ayu Tamil. I'm not a Tamilian, I'm a Malayali, but I put up in Chennai for a long time, so I do know Tamil as well. Chalo. So yes, thank you so much. Take care, Shubhratri, and see you all tomorrow. All the Plus students at 8 a.m. for the NCERT Economy batch course. Then I'll see you for the 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. the same YouTube classes in the same channel. And get ready for Friday, guys, at 9:30 p.m. Clear? And keep this code, Nisha IAS Live. I should see you all joining for the Plus classes using this referral code. And the target, or let's say the time limit, is July 31st, because after that there will be a fee hike or price hike. So grab the opportunity before that. Thank you and Jai Hind.